An APUSH explainer video, the evolution of homes from 1945 to the present. In this new post-war, post-depression time period, people were moving away from the cities and into the suburbs. The idea of owning a house was very popular among American citizens. The American dream had changed to where people now wanted to settle down and raise a family, and finding the perfect house and in the perfect neighborhood to raise that family in became a priority. Economically, everything was set for this new boom in home ownership. The cost of building homes was low, and thanks to bills like the GI Bill, which gave away low-interest loans and unemployment benefits, and government programs like HOLC and FHA, which gave consumers longer times to pay off their mortgages or insured consumers with their mortgages or a financial loss, the idea of owning a home became more affordable and accessible for all citizens. The first suburban neighborhood was created by a construction firm, Levitt & Sons, when they bought off acres of farmland and built thousands of houses on that land for military veterans and their families. They called the towns Levitt Towns and created them all across Long Island, as well as parts of New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Their main goal was to create towns that were peaceful and safe and were away from the loud bustle of the city. Levitt towns were constructed much like assembly line productions in factories. All of the houses looked the same, were the same, and were made the same. The construction process was used to maintain the utmost efficiency, speed, and lowest cost. The construction of Levitt towns, however, were most famous for their speed. It was said that one house only took 16 minutes to make, and a group of 40 men to do so. The 27-step construction process for each home was very strict. Each worker working on a house had only one job to do at each house, which made it more efficient and quicker to build the whole thing. Many racial issues emerged as well. The Levitt & Sons construction firm only sold to white people and neglected African Americans under their policies. Colored people and their supporters tried to fight the segregation. However, the construction firm still wouldn't sell to minorities. However, they couldn't prevent the previously white owners from selling to new consumers, which is how the Myers family ended up in a Levitt town in Long Island. The Myers family endured a lot of backlash because at the time, colored people and their supporters were thought to be spreading communist beliefs. However, the Myers family stood their ground and stayed in their home. Another issue with Levitt towns was that as time went on, people thought that they were too constricting and they were living in these tiny cookie-cutter boxes in too much of a controlled environment, and they wanted to get out. People continued to live in Levitt towns until the 1960s. However, as more neighborhoods got developed, in the 1950s, ranch-style homes became popular, as well as split-level homes, which were homes that had 2 to 3 levels that were connected by a very short flight of stairs, as opposed to our traditional 2 to 3 level home that's connected by a long flight of stairs. For the interior design of homes, modernism was a new idea which incorporated minimalism, very simple colors, simple lines, simple furniture, but very clean-cut edges, and it also played with geometric shapes. The mid-century modern aesthetic branched off of modernism to also include these minimalist ideas in simple colors, but to play with new colors, new materials, and new canvases. It was a twist on the traditional looks. Through to the 1960s, ranch houses were still very common, as well as the idea of mid-century modern design, which put a twist on the traditional home looks. Neo-colonial houses were also very common, which was a branch-off of the colonial-style houses, but in a new modern twist that wasn't too dated. Eichler houses in California were very famous for their modern and futuristic twist on normal ranch houses, which also played into the ideas of mid-century modern and modernism growing in the era. Overall, the 1960s was an era of wealth, prosperity, and luxury, and home design was very extra, very bold, very vibrant, with wallpaper and colors, and it was a time for people to show off their wealth. Increased economic tensions and high inflation rates started off the 1970s. Ranch-style homes were still the most common in the decade. However, pictured above are the contemporary and Cape Cod-style houses. Contemporary homes were more modern, incorporating geometric shapes, open light, and it was the start of this open concept layout, more akin to what we might see in the 21st century now. Cape Cod-style homes were modest one-stories, or two-stories, which had a lot of exposed wood. Home design in the 1970s was becoming more expressive. People wanted to implement funky colors and whatever patterns they wanted into their homes. Being eco-friendly was also very important after the hippie movement and the oil crisis. People wanted to put gardens and earth colors and exposed wood into their homes. The start of the open floor plan also began in the 1970s as people felt that it was more comfortable to live in. During the 1980s, split-level homes and ranch-style homes were still very popular. However, interior design-wise, mid-century modern design began to re-emerge and make a comeback. Kara Greenberg wrote a book about 1950s furniture, and after the New York Times reviewed it, it completely sold out and gained so much popularity. She is credited for coining the term mid-century modern, and for creating such popularity around the design. When the 1990s came, split-level homes, ranch-style homes, and even condominiums were common. However, the real popularity was in two-story homes. People wanted to go bigger. At this time, the middle class had become the prominent home buyer, and they wanted to upgrade their size. They wanted to build these huge McMansions and single-family houses. One of the most important design features in the 1990s was the start of the open floor plan. The main idea was to connect two or more spaces of the home without any walls, leaving it completely open. It was usually implemented in the lowest level of the home and in the highest traffic of areas, like the kitchen, the living room, and the dining room. The main purpose of it was so that parents could watch their kids, light could travel everywhere, and it would be easier to socialize with guests. From the 1990s to the early to mid-2000s, the open floor plan concept continued to expand. With that also, technological advancements came about, and the idea of having an office, computer, multiple consoles, and video games became a reality for many homeowners to adapt to. Now we reach the present. Unlike the mid-1900s where there were set neighborhoods and set houses, now people live in a plethora of different houses. Single-story, two-story, ranch-style houses, townhouses, single-family houses. There are many different house types that people continue to live. When it comes to interior designing now, people are very expressive of their own inner styles. They design their homes in the most efficient way for them and their family, as well as the most aesthetically pleasing way for them and their family. A top priority now is to focus on the best quality appliances, furniture, and tech, whether that be a stove, or a TV, or a security camera, or a sofa. The open concept floor plan and natural light is also a very prominent thing found in most homes and is strived for now.